John Scott is a goon, you could say, with the Buffalo Sabres, and he recently blindsided Loui Eriksson with an elbow. We have video. Sound full. And while we're waiting, please do support our Indiegogo campaign, which Ben is going to dish us for. Seems like a good enough idea. So if you want to check out our Indiegogo campaign, check out the link in the description below in this live stream. I apologize to Chauncey, by the way, for this. So, okay, go ahead.
Loui Eriksson takes a look ahead.
Eriksson makes a play in the neutral zone, gets it in. Oh, that's a late hit. That's a cheap shot. That's a late hit. That's unacceptable. And that is going to draw the ire. That's an elbow right to the head.
There's the picture, by the way, that shows that the elbow came up. John Scott, as Mike Milbury pointed out, is a goon. You could put that up one more time, by the way, Chauncey, if we can. The picture of John Scott putting his elbow into the Bruins is Loui Eriksson. There are guys like this in the league that, they exist. I mean, it's just, unfortunately, the nature of the game. He's 6'8", 260 pounds. He fought Adam McQuaid. After this, by the way, Adam McQuaid sticking up for his teammate, Loui Eriksson. He has an in-person hearing with Brendan Shanahan, who is the disciplinarian, and he has not even been a successful player. He has 1 point this year, 1 goal in 86 games played. I mean, he's out there to fight people and hurt people. So I don't know a lot about hockey. Ask me a question.
I don't think this is necessary, and there isn't a person alive who can explain to me that this is necessary. Like, I just don't buy it. We see it in Olympic hockey. I don't sense that
they don't allow fighting in Olympic hockey as well.
Like there's a way to play this game. They don't do this in college, right?
Right.
Like, so why is it sort of developed in the NHL that there's really a guy called a goon? Like, it's weird. They don't need it. Like, figure out a way to get rid of it. Like, isn't there a more valuable way to take up that roster spot? Maybe some guy who could score.
Yes, there is. Yes.
A quick skater who could, I don't know.
This is unnecessary. It doesn't have to happen. We don't have to put guys out there whose sole purpose is to hit people and injure people. I'm all for hits.
What do you think? What do they think it accomplishes? That it intimidates the other team so they play tentatively?
Somewhat, I suppose. Yeah, when you have a 6'8", 260-pound guy that has one purpose out there. Not necessarily to injure, but to sort of loosen your screws a little bit, check you into the board so you slow down a little bit. That's his main purpose.
Man, if I were running the NHL and I still was unquestionably a fourth league, like you're on the outside of the big three looking in, from television contracts to fan interest to people caring.
The lockout certainly didn't help its cause.
Yeah, but even so, it's the same.
Well,
before.
I mean, games were on ESPN, Ben. I mean, there were a lot of people watching.
Rick, people don't give a shit about hockey. There are people care about hockey, but it's not the same as
you don't care about hockey.
What's wrong with this guy?
What's wrong with you?
Do people also like squash, but it's not as big as football?
Oh my God, you're comparing hockey to squash.
No, what I'm saying, Rick, is that there is a list. And do you think hockey's in the top 3?
As of right now?
Ever in the United States of America, since the beginning of time, was there a moment? Let me help you out. There wasn't. And I'm actually helping them. I'm saying there might be. There's a big group of hockey fans, regionalized, but there's a big group of hockey fans. And it hurts that you let the game be marginalized and made silly by guys like that. Like, so if I were in charge of hockey, and I'm sure from a marketing point of view, they're misdirected. This is foolish. They should never have to talk about this. No other sport would have a guy whose sole job was to hurt other players.
Brandon Merriweather.
Brendan Merriweather is supposed to play safety. He's supposed to make plays. By the way, he just got suspended for 1/8 of the season, and he's not very good. And Barry Merriweather may not have a job.
He suspended 1 game. It was brought down down to 1.
Well, he was initially suspended for 2. I didn't see that it was brought down to 1.
It's number one. Football is trying to do this because they're having their issues.
Yeah.
They're thinking, oh my God, we're not going to exist in 20 years if this keeps up. So I mean, I guess to Ben's point, they're trying to do something about it. Maybe hockey should try and do something about this. Number one. Number two, you asked them to stay.
Right, that's true. That's a good point.
What do you mean?
You said stay for the story.
Oh, yeah, I did.
But it marginalizes. Like, I watch Olympic hockey. It's a great game. Like, let it happen. But this is, I think it makes it easier to keep that sport on the outside. Because it's close. And there are parts of the country, obviously, where it's bigger than some of the other big 3 sports.
So he could play in Russia. He could play in Switzerland if this were to ever happen. But I'm asking you guys, should he be kicked out of the league?
How many times has this happened? I don't know his track record necessarily.
I mean, look, I saw him with the Blackhawks. He's played for the Wild. He's played for the Kings. It's not like off the ice, he's a great guy. I mean, like that's all I've heard from anybody who's involved in the NHL. He's a cool guy. He's a nice guy, down to earth and everything. But on the ice,
no,
he'll fight you.
You can't kick a guy out of the game for doing things that aren't that is universally accepted as a thing that happens in hockey. You can suspend him for this action. You can suspend him big, 10, 15 games. But what you should do is make it a league where that guy can't play. Like, you got to bring other skills to the table. You're not going to make a roster. That's what the NHL ought to be doing.
All right. Ben, you're dismissed.
Thank you.